Hey, nice Atypical Daydream t-shirt.
Thanks. It's my favorite podcast.
Mine too. But where can I get a t-shirt?
It's easy. The link is in the show notes.
That is easy. I'm gonna go get one right now.
That's a great idea.
Thanks. Bye.
You bet. Stay cool.
But I straight up poured it in a glass and just drank it. And then my friend walks up and he sees me in the kitchen. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying your booze out, you know." He's like, "Whoa, how much did you drink?" I'm like, "Dude." And then he's like, "Oh man, like, yeah, it's not good."
Hello, my atypical daydreamers. Welcome to the podcast. It's a show about life on the road, when you're out of your comfort zone and the shit hits the fan. My guest today is John Wesley Coleman III. He's an Austin musician, songwriter, and a road warrior. How many people do you know who've fallen out of a moving van? I only know of one, and that's Mr. Coleman. His story today reminds me of something that Oscar Wilde once said. Life imitates art far more than art imitates life. That might be true most of the time, but as a creative person, I'm constantly pulling art from life. It's like picking apples and then making an apple pie. Let's say somebody says something and it sticks in your head. You chew on it, sometimes for days, until it becomes something new, a story, a scene, a song. In today's episode, Wes takes us through something wild and challenging. But on the other side, he's left with another piece of the pie.
So it was South by Southwest here in Austin. And, you know, I'm playing around town with my band and doing shows. And I had a record out at the time called Steal My Mind. And there's a song called Where Did My Friends Go? And people really like that song. And someone came up to me, they're like, "Hey, this band's playing your song. We just heard it." And I'm like, "What? Okay, cool." Sonny Smith and the Sunsets is this band. So yeah, I went to go see them play, and then I heard them do the song, and then we talked. And he's also an artist, and he told me that he had an art show in town after South by Southwest, but he had to go back to California to move like this jukebox that he made or had with these like fake records and albums and artists that are in the jukebox. It was part of this crazy art show. So he asked if I wanted to jump in the camper van with my band and his band because he'll have room. And he's like, "You can just ride back with us to California and then you guys just fly back home." So it's like a one-way trip. And he's like, "I'll book everything." So anyways, we get in the camper van, we start playing shows, and, you know, we get to like, I think we played a show in Denton, and then, so we played a show, and then after the show, I drank this stuff out of a mason jar in a fridge. I thought it was booze, but it was like THC soaked alcohol. Like you could take like leftover like stems and pot and stuff and soak it in a mason jar in alcohol, and it made it really potent. Like, you're supposed to take a tiny, like, sip or tincture of it. But I straight up poured it in a glass and just drank it. And then my friend walks up and he sees me in the kitchen. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying your booze out, you know?" Like, it's because he's always like, "Get whatever you want out of the fridge." And he's like, "Whoa, how much did you drink?" I'm like, "Dude." And then he's like, "Oh, man, like, yeah, it's not good. It's going to last. It's going to last a long time." Like, it's going to last a long time. So I got really, 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 really lit and sick, like just lost my mind, and it wouldn't go away for like a few days. Like I was sitting in this vehicle traveling west, completely like in and out of psychosis, like just tripping, like it's just like, oh man, I could not stop being high. I was just like, fuck. But at the same time, like I'm writing lyrics and drawing, and I was inspired by some things on the road. By the time we get to Arizona, we're passing through Tucson. His vehicle broke down. It just radiator busted in the desert. and it was like daytime. We had to be at the show like, you know, that night. So the tow truck driver shows up, and he sees like there's 4 people in my band and 4 people in his band with all this gear, and the tow truck driver's like, well, I can't take everyone, you know. So Sonny's like, all right, guys, see you later. If you guys can make it to California, we'll see you there, or you know, like, because our last show was going to be in San Francisco. So they drove off, and we just had our bare minimal suitcase and stuff and some guitars. We're in the desert on the highway, and it's 113 degrees, and we're like, we don't know, like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, let's just walk up the highway. Let's walk up the highway in between. Let's head to Phoenix. So we just started walking towards Phoenix. You know, we're walking for a long time, just fucking sun blaring on us, and vultures are swirling around.
Hey, it's Josh. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. And if so, are you wanting more road stories? Well, good news. I've got you covered. Consider becoming a patron. You'll have access to loads of great bonus stories that there just wasn't time for. And you'll be supporting a truly independent podcast. Find the link in the show notes. And thanks. Now back to the show.
You know, my bandmates are like, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of fun, you know, because like, when do you get stranded in the desert? And I remember like just kind of walking up like on some rocks and like looking around and like, man, this is the desert. Like, I love this, you know. But at the same time, it's just like you see it in the movies all the time, you know. You see it in Paris, Texas, and you know, any National Lampoon's movie, whatever. But so we're in the desert. And then this big truck driver, 18-wheeler, rolls up, and he's like, y'all want to get in? Where are you going? I'm like, man, we're going to Phoenix. He's like, okay, I'll drop you off. So we get in this guy's like 18-wheeler. There's a spot in the truck where you can sleep and lay down. You know, it's a big thing. So we get in the truck, and his dad, this guy's dad, who doesn't speak English, is just sitting there with like a Coca-Cola and a sandwich. And we're all sitting like kind of real close to him, next to him, and then the guy starts driving up the highway, and then he's like, "That's my dad. He doesn't speak English, but he'll share you a sandwich and some Cokes." And so we're like, "All right, yeah." So we're like eating, drinking, and just kind of just like, wow, we're all in this huge truck, like 18-wheeler truck. So he goes into Phoenix, and then he just drops us off on the side of the highway in Phoenix. And I have a friend in Phoenix, so I called him, and he was going to come to the show that night. So an old high school friend of mine named Philip Harrington, I called him, and I was like, Philip, we're somewhere. He met us, picked us up, took us to the show. Now, at this point, we don't know what's going on with Sonny. I think we heard like he's good. He's got the tow truck. We might see him in California. I don't know. And we get to the show, and there's a lot of people at the show. And we didn't really have any gear. I had a guitar, I had a bass guitar, and I had to tell the people on the microphone, hey, it's just us. There's no Sonny in the Sunsets. And everyone just seemed really bummed out. Like, they're like, oh man, this is not a good show. And I'm like, give us a chance. Like, can you give us some gear? Like, we just walked up the highway, hitchhiked on the highway, you know, it took a lot to get here, and I'm still kind of just losing my mind at the same time with what, I drank. We ended up kind of playing some music. I barely remember that. And then we stayed at my friend's house, and then my bass player used a credit card to rent a vehicle, and he got us a vehicle, and then we just drove to LA and met them somewhere in Orange County. And we played a show, and they were just like, we can't believe you made it. You're here at the show. I'm like, yeah, you left us in the desert. Like, we're not going to stop, man. We're not going to go home. So, we followed them up to San Francisco and played the Hemlock Tavern, which my buddies ran. But they got on stage and they were just like, we barely made it. We're here. We're alive. We've been through so much shit. And everyone's like, oh my God, you made it. We've heard about your horrible breakdown in the desert. And they're like, yeah, we made it. And I'm all like, dude, we walked up through the desert, and it just seemed odd, but the whole thing was a trip. And then we stayed in San Francisco for like 3-4 days. I went to record a record for Goner, which was the last Donkey show. I did it with Greg Ashley. We were in Oakland, and I was like writing a lot on the way to that session. So all this stuff was happening while like I'm writing for that record. There's like a song on that record. It's kind of like when I was talking to Sonny about issues and stuff, Sonny would be like, don't waste my time. Just don't waste my time. What happened was we were in Waco and we pulled into a restaurant. I went inside and then it came back out and they were all like, the band was all standing around the other band in the parking lot. And apparently they were talking about me and about my situation with the law. And I didn't know that. And so I walked up and I was like, hey, Sonny, if you need me to drive, I'll drive. I could do a little bit. I could break it up for you if you want to take a break. Like, I love to drive. He's like, nope. I'm like, what? What's up? He's like, don't waste my time. I'm like, what? I mean, I'm just trying to, what? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you got your license suspended, dude, or something. And then I'm like, no, once we get out of Texas, dude, it's just not even a thing. I could, I'm good. I'm not going to get fucked up and drive, like if you want me to take over for a few hours. He's like, just kind of just want to let me talk, And I just met this guy and I'm like, who the fuck? Like, so I took those words and my friend Orville had this piano part. And I'm like, okay, don't waste my time. And then I just made it up on the spot about our journey through the desert. And it's called Don't Waste My Time. But I just realized that song kind of has a narrative view of what happened and transpired over that journey. The tour was like a short tour. It was maybe 4 or 5 dates, but they were really long, stretches of road between those dates with Sunny and the Sunsets. And I got along with the band. Like, they were really sweet, nice people. And Sonny, he has great records and good songs. And we were just two different people, and I mean, I might have been more of an asshole or just completely insane person talking to him, I don't know. So all the good stuff that comes along with rock and roll touring, I love it. I love all that stuff. So many broken down van stories and falling out of the vehicle stories and wrecks. And, it's not about the money. It's just about the adventure. I definitely got it. I got a good suntan by the time I got to San Francisco. It's like looking pretty good.
I want to thank Wes for sharing his experience. Be sure to go check out all his music. I've really been digging his song Strange Birds. Links in the show notes. And if you know of anybody who might appreciate this episode, please text it to them. It really helps the show grow. This podcast is created and produced by me, Josh Caldwell. Music by Visual Aid, my side music project. General support and copywriting by Miranda Caldwell. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come back next time.